Do you ever wonder whatever happened to Octomom, the woman who had 8 babies at once? Hey, Benardo here from the Northeast Assisted Fertility Group. One of the most sensational things about IVF and assisted reproductive technology is the fact that it can historically result in multiple births. And the most notorious and infamous one was Nadya Suleman, who in 2009 gave birth to 8 children, unbelievably. Here she is now. They're all grown up, or, they're in 3rd grade or whatever. They're fine. It was a very, very unusual case and a bit of a freakish thing. The doctor transferred 12 embryos, which is outrageous. And even some of those split into 2. And it was just a whole big mess. And the doctor admitted he made a mistake. I want to back up and explain why multiples occur with IVF. What happens in IVF is in vitro fertilization. That is, the fertilization takes place outside the woman's body in a petri dish, in vitro, in glass. So what happens is there's some stimulation of the ovaries to produce more mature eggs than would normally be produced in a month. And then with a little needle, they're extracted through an ovarian cyst aspiration. So all those eggs are taken out. So you don't just get one egg. Let's say let me get anywhere between 5 and 15 or something around that for a regular IVF. Now, not all will be mature and not all will fertilize, but they'll fertilize them right there with the husband sperm and the donor sperm or whatever sperm they're using, and they'll observe them for a few days, usually up to 5 days. And they'll see some will flourish and some will just kind of peter out. And the embryologists rate them, look just by morphology, that is by what they look like generally. And then what they'll do after 5 days is they will transfer, that is not implant them. That's what happens after they're transferred. But they'll transfer some embryos to the woman's uterus and see if any one of them will implant or take and flourish. Some will just die in the womb. Some will just not take. So in the case of Octomom, he transferred 12. And not thinking that so many would take, but 8 took, and then she ended up having 8 babies. Now, this was a big mistake. Now, that's why multiples happen, is that if they transfer multiple embryos, not thinking that all of them will take because half of them will not. And this was just a freak thing. So, why do people want multiples? Why do they think it's desirable? Well, they think, let's just get it all over with one shot. We want 2 kids, well, let's have 2 at once. They think it's more efficient and a time saver, but it's not. Any kind of multiple pregnancy, even a twin pregnancy, is a very, very high risk of complications to the mom, to the health of the children, both in the womb and then later on in life, where there's high risk of premature birth, all kinds of problems, and higher costs associated with that. Doctors really need to educate their patients about what a desired outcome is for IVF. The actual desired outcome for an IVF, in vitro fertilization cycle, that is the whole cycle of the stimulation and the transfer, is a healthy single birth. That is what they're going for, not a whole brood at once. So in 2007, the ASRM, the American Society for Assisted Reproductive Medicine, put out a paper and a kind of a guideline saying really elective single embryo transfer is preferred if the woman is under 35 and healthy or using a donor egg. As long as everything's healthy and fine, there's no other complications or risks. The gold standard is one embryo transferred at a time. And dramatically, the numbers of multiples have decreased since in the past 10 years. It's just a fraction. Anything over, twins is just a fraction of what it used to be. Now, the technology has improved to allow that. so that the embryologists, who I say are really the magicians of IVF, not the doctors, the embryologists not only can evaluate the embryos by what they look like, but they can do all kinds of pre-testing and observation, and also the cryopreservation, that is the freezing, is much better. So a typical scenario would be you have a cycle, you get five embryos, 3 really good blasts, and 2 kind of okay? So they transfer one of the really good ones, freeze the rest. That really good one doesn't take. Then they do a thaw of another one, transfer that, and that one works. So overall, the whole cycle was successful. It wasn't successful on the fresh transfer, but it was on the thaw transfer, and they consider that a win, and it is. So another thing is the cost. So what most people didn't realize with Octomom is she was trying to get everything all done at once because insurance only covered one transfer. Well, insurance has gotten much better, and they will cover the thaw transfers as well. So there isn't that financial pressure to have everything transferred with one go, because it's just too much of a risk. So I hope that was helpful in explaining why multiples occur with IVF, and how they've become fewer and fewer as the technology has become better. And it's become safer and more effective with better success rates. Again, the outcome that is desired is a healthy singleton pregnancy, not one whole family in one go. So I hope you like this video. Please put any comments below. Please subscribe to my channel and go to assistedfertility.com for more information on third-party reproduction. Thanks so much for watching.